Hey guys, welcome back. So we've been boiling some sap, but not the last few days. We had storms and whatnot. And since I boil it outside, if the wind is blowing so that the flames are going horizontal, it's not very efficient. But we've got, let's see, a gallon, 3 quarts, and a pint so far. Hopefully we get at least 3 gallons before the season ends. Looks like coming up there's going to be another little stretch where it's below freezing at night and then warming up to the 40s during the day. So I gotta boil again pretty soon. I think I'll be able to boil again tomorrow or the next day. One of the days I was boiling sap down probably a week ago now. We have those 2 pans on top of that grate, and the shallow pan was getting close to being finished, and so I had 2 pairs of pliers and leather gloves on, and I was dumping that pan into the big one. Then I was going to put fresh new sap in the shallow pan and get that heating up. Well, as I was moving the sap to the big pan, one of the bolts that hold the pliers together broke, and so that whole side of the pan obviously went crashing down, and it spilled in the fireplace, and it was just like all smoke and steam in my face, and flames came up, and I actually singed my eyelashes. I could feel them just like curling back, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I burnt my hair. Yeah, it was not good. Made me instantly think of why the Franklin stove was invented. So if you don't know about the Franklin stove, Benjamin Franklin invented what's known as the Franklin stove, because before that the women were cooking in open fireplaces, because that's what all the homes had, was an open fireplace, and they were getting severely burned, and some women even died because their skirts would catch on fire. So I'm like, you know, trying to clear my eyes, and I get steam and everything in my face. I'm like, yep, that's what the Franklin stove was invented. I mean, I'm okay. I just have half my eyelashes and missing a little piece of hair. But glad it wasn't worse. I was just kind of mad that I lost all that sap right in the fire pit. But anyway, so that's going along. I'm not sure what we're going to end up with this weird weather we're having. We had towards the beginning of the month, so March is almost over now, but towards the beginning of the month, I went out to tend the sap one evening, and there were night crawlers going all through, you know, the lawn, and the robins came back. And then this past weekend we had a storm. We ended up with probably, I don't know, 8 inches or more, because then it switched over to rain and it settled some. We had crust on top and it drifted around a lot, but probably 8 to 10 inches maybe, around there. Yeah, so that was kind of, it's my fault. You can blame me because I put the kids' winter gear away. I know better. I did know better. While I was putting it away, I'm like, I'm going to need this again. I was hoping I wasn't going to need it. But I just get so tired of everything being all muddy and piled up at the front door, you know. And the driveway was starting to dry out. Now we got to start all over again. Oh well. It's Maine. Sometimes we still got snow up to our armpits this time of year. So funny story. This past winter, after another storm that we'd had, I was out driving, and I come across this vehicle had gone off the road. A couple people in cars ahead of me stopped, and they just kind of waved them on. Well, I pulled over to stop and see if they were alright, and the guy goes, well, first he walked up to my window and he goes, hey bud, or whatever, and then he looked in the window and he's like, oh, sorry. Like, whatever. So, he's like, you got 4-wheel drive? And I said, yeah. He says, you wouldn't pull us out, would you? I said, I could try. He said, I can't make any promises, but I'll give her a go. I didn't pay attention to exactly what it was they had for a vehicle. It was something similar to like a Jeep Liberty, like an older one or something like that. And I'm telling you what, the guy was trying to shovel the vehicle out with a manure fork. The driver was still sitting inside the vehicle because he was not dressed for the weather. He was in slippers. He was from San Diego. And there was another gentleman in the vehicle, but I didn't talk to him or, you know, see him, or he was kind of sitting in the back just minding his own business, probably wondering what he got himself into. And when they had gone off the road, they didn't have hardly any gas in their vehicle, so the vehicle was tipped just a little bit like that, and so they ran out of gas. They had no heat, no winter gear, no, like, you know, winter hats, gloves, nothing. It was a circus. Their tires were just as smooth as a new baby's butt. I'm not joking. There was no tread on their tires at all. So I get the strap out of the box on the back, and I tossed it to him, and I said, "You can hook her up." I said, you know, because I didn't want to be responsible for anything that happens, you know. It's like, "You can hook her up, and I can try to pull you out." Okay. So he gets her all hooked up, and he's, you know, telling me which way to turn the wheel and all that stuff. My brother goes by in his Jeep, and he sees what's going on, so he pulls up in front of me, and he gets out, throws on a high-vis vest, and he's directing traffic while I pull these guys out. And so it took a few tries, but we got them out, got them on the road. And they're like, "Oh, thank you," and they slapped the hood of the truck. They said, "Chevy like a rock." I'll be honest, I was thinking you might want to go back to San Diego, but the guy that was out doing the shoveling was all mad because he's like, "I didn't even get into this mess," but he's got slippers on, so he can't get out and shovel. He's no good. And he said, "I don't know what happened. I was sitting in the back eating a bowl of cereal, minding my own business. Next thing I know, we're in the ditch." I'm like, who goes down the road eating a bowl of cereal? Like, are you that pressed for time? Anyways, so hopefully they made it to a gas station or something after that, because they did have a little bit of gas that they could put in there, and I'm like, oh man, what a circus. I don't know what all was going on, but they got on their merry way anyways. Wow. Then about a week later, there was another vehicle off the road, and this one, this driver here, she I mean, the roads were crap, and she was going way too fast. She ended up going off the road to the right, and she'd done a complete 180 parallel to the road. So it was kind of in a bad spot too, so I stopped to see if they needed EMS. They were fine, they didn't need EMS, but she was trying to get a hold of a tow truck, and couldn't get through. It was her and a young teenage boy, and I got out and looked at the situation, and her vehicle had already been smashed up before because she'd hit a deer, and their hitch was all, I mean, it was corroded pretty bad. Like I said, it was on a corner. I just didn't have a good feeling about the whole thing. Just made me uneasy. So I stayed and made sure, you know, I had my 4-ways on. Made sure she finally got a hold of the tow truck. Gave me the old thumbs up. So when she had a tow on the way, I kept going, but I wasn't gonna attempt. I mean, I know the truck would have pulled them out, you know, by where she was in the bank and stuff, but it was just a bad spot. I'm like, I'm gonna let the professionals handle this, because I'm not getting sued or getting hit, because it was like on a hill and a corner. So anybody coming down the road, there's no way, especially if they were, you know, going right along like she was, there's no way they'd be able to stop in time. They'd end up hitting me, and not a good situation. So I let the tow truck handle that situation. Oh my word, it's like just people off the road everywhere. So this past Monday, I finally bit the bullet and ordered some chicks. I'd been wanting to order some anyway, but I was thinking, well, gee, I wanted to get them in time so that they could get big enough to incorporate with the chickens I have now. I've got 7 layers left out of my old flock, and I wanted them to be big enough to incorporate into that flock before we went out and did anything this summer and went anywhere, just to make it easy, you know, can fill up the automatic feeder and water and not have to worry about 2 sets of chickens and little ones, and it was getting to the point where it's like, well, if I just wait and walk into a Tractor Supply somewhere, I might not be able to find what I want, what I'm looking for. And of course I had to get a few more extra than I really wanted, because right now it's cold, so the minimum order for getting chicks in the mail is 25 through McMurray Hatchery. But what do you think?
Should I open it? Mommy, should I open it?
Hold on, let me get down there first.
Down?
Okay. Don't take them out yet though. Just let them sniff them. Gentle. Gentle.
Hey.
Sweetie, do you love them?
Yeah.
Yeah. All this winter I've had the chickens in the coop, and I would let Whiskey come in with me while I'd feed them and water them, and if she ever made an attempt to go at them, I'd let her know that was not acceptable. And she did good. She was leaving them alone after that. She would just come in and look around and watch me feed them, and out she'd go. So we'll see. Just gotta supervise them, make sure they're not left alone with each other. And June used to kill chickens too, and she'd come out of it. And she'd lay out there in the sun, soaking up the sun, and chickens would be all around her, and she wouldn't touch a thing. So Whiskey she'll be 1 on the 31st. I can't believe she's gonna be a year old already. I was gonna take her out bushcrafting this past weekend, but we got that storm came in, and I just was not feeling up for it. So, but hopefully this weekend would be better. So just plodding along and just trying to keep the plate spinning. Get ready for spring. Thinking about the garden. Finishing up the sapping. For supper the other night I made like a breakfast skillet kind of dish. The last loaf of sourdough I made, I honestly pulled it out of the oven too early. And so there was a spot in the middle that wasn't quite cooked all the way. So as we sliced off, you know, for toast and everything else, we got to the middle and I was like, oh, that was an oopsie. So what I did the other night was I sliced some pieces off that and cubed it up, toasted it until it was nice and crispy in the oven. Put that in the skillet with some deer sausage. That one was the German breakfast blend deer sausage. That was pretty good. I like that one. So cook that up with some onion. Put that in with the bread cubes. Then Jackson helped me blend up some eggs and milk. Pour that over the top. Some shredded cheese. Bake that off. Sweetie said she didn't care for it, but I thought it was pretty good. Something different than just potato all the time, you know, with that kind of a meal. It wasn't bad. I'll probably use the rest for breadcrumbs or bread pudding or something. So I do have some more videos that I'm in the process of making. I also got to take the computer and get it repaired. So right now it's raining and foggy and crummy. Hoping for some good weather. Just keep making the sap and get some more videos coming out. Thanks for hanging out with me today for this coffee with Whiskey. Sans the Whiskey. She took off, went outside. She's out playing in the snow. But, yep, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. And I'll catch you on the next one.